came to the king neither clothed nor unclothed, neither walking, nor riding, nor driving, neither in sun nor in shadow. Now when she was released from the net and a mantle had been placed over her, she handed the platter to the king, who took the top platter off, whereupon a little bird that had been between the two platters flew away. This was a gift that was no gift. The king was so delighted at the way in which the farmer's daughter had solved the riddle that he immediately married her and made her his queen, and they lived very happily together though no children came to them. The king depended upon her for advice in all his affairs and would often have her seated by him when he was giving judgment in law matters. Now it happened that one day at the end of all the other cases there came two peasants, each of whom claimed a foal that had been born in a stable where they had both left their carts, one with horse and the other with a mare. The king was tired with the day's pleadings, and without thinking and without consulting his queen who sat by his side, he said, "Let the first man have it," who happened to be the peasant whose cart was drawn by the horse. Now the queen was vexed that her husband should have decided so unjustly, and when the court was over she went to the other peasant and told him how he could convince the king that he had made a rash judgment. So the next day he took a stool outside the king's window and commenced fishing with a fishing rod in the road. The king, looking out of his window, saw this and began to laugh and called out to the man, "You won't find many fish on a dry road." To which the peasant answered, "As many as foals that come from a horse." Then the king remembered his judgment of yesterday and, calling the men before him, decided that the foal should belong to the man who had the mare and who had fished in front of his windows. But he said to him as he dismissed them, "That arrow never came from your quiver." Then he went to his queen in a towering rage and said to her, "How dare you interfere in my judgments?" And she said, "I did not like my dear husband to do what was unjust." But the king said, "Then you ought to have spoken to me, not shame me before my people. That is too much. You shall go back to your father who is so proud of you, and the only favor I can grant you will be that you can take with you from the palace whatever you love best. Your majesty's wish shall be my law," said the queen, "but let us at least not part in anger. Let me have my last dinner as queen in your company." When they dined together, the queen put a sleeping potion in the king's cup, and when he fell asleep she directed the servants to put him in the carriage that was waiting to take her home, and carried him into her bed. When he woke up next morning he asked, "Where am I, and why are you so with me?" And the queen said, "You allowed me to take with me that which I loved best in the palace, and so I took you." Then the king recognized the love his queen had for him, and brought her back to his palace, and they lived together there forever afterwards.